Hey, good
Good
morning.
morning.
I'm gonna have to update with your new backgrounds and stuff. Look, I was like, I'm looking like, oh, these are us through the years. How are you?
I'm great in yourself.
I'm good. Did you survive? Did y'all have what we had down here? Oh
Not at
Lord.
all. It's just been humid.
Gosh. My God, today. Yes, it
But
was a whole hot, nasty mess in Ohio. And
but
I
you know,
think,
we almost out the woods. It's the middle of August.
yeah. But yeah, well, we ended hurricane season, and oftentimes it'll roll on up the state. So, and then somebody was telling me the Farmer's Almanac, which I thought they published that already. But anyway, something came out recently that said we were going to have maybe a rough winter. I was like, oh, I'm trying to brace myself for this rough winter. But yeah, we had it looked every time we have a severe storm with winds blowing like that, it looks like a war zone in my near my house because there's a whole bunch of trees and trees are everywhere. And of course, a tree, the same tree when I was gone, the they lost power here because a tree dropped branches, ripped everything off the line. The same tree the other day, another branch ripped all the cable stuff off. So we ain't had internet for several days. I was like, uh-oh.
Oh
let me
Lord.
let me pull out my books. Now it looks like a good time to get caught up on some summer reading, which I did. So, oh, but we survived, and then I was worried because they were still um raining in the forecast, and I'm thinking, oh my God, floods. For some reason, something is happening here where there is a lot of flooding. We didn't used to have all of this. So I'm like, wow.
No, but they say global warming is a hoax though.
And all of this during our Black Family Reunion weekend. So the cousins is coming out. The cousins
Oh
is
wow.
convening. I think this is the 37th or 38th annual.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we still do it here.
That's
We're probably one of the
nice.
few states that still have that. And John P. Key is going to be here on Sunday. And if you know anything about me, you know I love me some John P. Key, and I try to get in wherever I can see him. So I'm trying to figure that out. Praying that it does not rain. But how was your week? Enough about me. How was your week?
It was good, although yesterday seemed to drag on a little. The week
Mhm.
went by kind of fast, but it seemed like Friday. It seemed like I worked 16 hours yesterday. I
Mm.
don't know why.
I should have, but I didn't. I had
It's
a,
the summer.
it's
God.
the summer. I just had a whole, I'm tired of looking at this space like this. So I redid my whole bedroom. Like, let me just pull all this stuff out and move all this stuff around. And voila. I said, okay. All of that I should have been working, doing all kinds of stuff. Here we are. I'll be pulling in a 16-hour between today and tomorrow. We're at the end of the semester. So yeah, it is fun. It is fun. All right, all right. So, if I handed an AI model full access to your patient records tomorrow, would your documentation actually hold up? Or would it just help you find the gaps faster? Welcome, everybody, to our Saturday morning tea, where we brew up the hottest topics in healthcare, health information, uh, news, education, Farmer's Almanac, how the weeks are weaking and flying. All of the things, even though they're keeping us quite busy because we're working, would you say 16 hours a day?
Mhm.
On a Friday, no less. Oh, goodness. Plus, we talk certification tips, entrepreneurship, and revenue cycle at large. So, if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that thumbs up and that like button. Again, it genuinely helps this channel reach the coders and health information professionals and compliance folks who needs it. Now, I'm Clarice Warner. I'm the girl with the pearls, the founder and senior education director of the Professional Reimbursement Network, LLC, a healthcare compliance consultancy located in Cincinnati, Ohio, specializing in revenue cycle, regulatory compliance, and education. Now, quick question for you. If you are trying to break into medical coding or level up your credentials, do you actually have a step-by-step plan, or are you just hoping it works? Because I got one for you. It's called the 5 steps to become a certified marketable medical coder, and it's free. Free, free. Check out the video description for the link and check out this. Are you interested in medical coding, but not sure where to start and scared of wasting time and resources? Let me help you with the right steps to become a certified marketable medical coder. Learn more at bit.ly/5stepscoder. Hey, all right. Joining me today is my partner in success, my co-host, Mr. Jesse, the registered trademark. Put some respect on his name, the coding nurse. All right there, Mr. Jesse, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Jesse. I live in Philadelphia. I left the bedside in 2014, moved into HIM in the field of risk adjustment, and during the pandemic in 2020, I created a company, the Coding Nurse LLC, where I help nurses and other people in healthcare with a clinical background transition into the wonderful world of HIM.
And how's that going?
It's coming along.
Good, good.
Yep, I have a
I'm
new
looking at
class. Oh, go ahead. You looking at
you have a
what?
new class. Is that an announcement?
No, it's
It's already
starting
going on.
next Thursday. Yeah.
Okay, okay, all right. I'm looking at your background. I'm like, all I need is like a little lo-fi, little music playing in the background. I'll be in there all the time. Look, now I'm looking at my office like, ooh, next room, next space. While I got the bug. All right. So while we're getting into it today, drop your comments and questions in the chat. If you have a question for us, start it with the letter Q so we don't miss it in the mix of all the chatter. So whether you're watching live or catching the replay, today we are asking, can AI actually protect your documentation integrity? Or is it just really good at helping you find out after the fact that it never did? All right. Before we get into it, let's get into a little church announcements. Kim, shall we? Shall we? Do. Hey. Let me write this down right now. Because every time I keep saying it and I haven't done it. And I'm gonna go to Amazon, right? Look, when we in the meeting after the meeting, I'm gonna be ordering. All right. Hey, all right. All right. So, our church announcements. Before we get into the tea of the church announcements, I have a little PRN housekeeping. Again, if you want the deeper resources that go with every episode, we've got 2 tiers over on Patreon. The PRN Hot Tea Sippers, they get quick reference cards, quizzes, and talking points, and guides you can actually use on the floor. So you can take that with you. It's yours. You can share it. You can do all kinds of things with it. It's yours. Hint, hint. But then we also have the PRN Elite, and they get the same resources, but they also get the executive briefings, the facilitator guides. So if they want to host a workshop based on some information that we've shared, you got it right there. Put your spin on it, put your name on it, roll. Self-assessment workbooks and 90-day roadmaps built for leaders who need to operationalize this and not just understand it, but really use it for the organization's benefit or even for their own personal benefit. So link is in the description. bit.ly/the PRN Sippers, or you can click on that QR code. And remember, this channel exists because of this community. So every comment, every share, every question helps us know what to cover next. Okay? All right. Get rid of this now. Now, the other announcement, quick update before we get into today's tea. Remember last week, episode 202, when we talked about the growing pressure on the AMA over their grip on the CPT codes? Well, it just escalated. On August 13th, patientrightsadvocate.org sued the AMA, asking the court to confirm they can publish a purchase copy of CPT online for free. Here's why it matters. CPT underpins how Medicare, Medicaid, and at least 45 states set physician reimbursement. Yeah, and that's a lot. The AMA made $296 million last year just from books and digital content. And CPT royalties bring the AMA more than $300 million a year. The lawsuit leans on the Supreme Court's own words from 2020, quote, "No one can own the law," end quote. So if you caught episode number 202, consider this your update. If you missed it, go back and watch. This one's going to keep developing. And it could all be so simple if access to the codes running our reimbursement system wasn't locked behind a paywall. All right, we'll keep you posted on this one because I know it's gonna be a wild ride. Mr. Jesse, you have any announcements?
Before I get into mine, I just want to say the girls are fighting. I'm going to be sitting somewhere with some popcorn.
Sir, all day.
And a zero sugar beverage because this is going to be good.
I said, oh my goodness. I found a new drink. Look, nobody sponsors, but Trader Joe's has this sparkling coconut water with yuzu.
Oh.
They in these little cans. It's so good. You got to try it. Okay, go ahead.
Well, I had to stop with the coconut water because I never really drank it until I moved to New York City because with so many Caribbean people, that's all they drink. And I was like, I see why. I was like, oh no.
Well, this is a delightful little treat. I put it in a nice, pretty, fancy glass, and it is all I need. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead with your announcement.
So, my announcement is I'm going to be knee deep in teleprompter software today because I have to. I'm doing a first real professional webinar next Saturday.
Yes.
So I have it all. I have the slides done. I have the script ready. So now I just need to. I have been doing research for the past couple of days about the best teleprompter, just because I'm not trying to buy no $3,000 teleprompter.
Absolutely.
But they have I have one that I downloaded last night, but I have to play around with it because it's, I'm trying to do it right. Because anything I ever have done, like even in terms of video, I just do it off the cuff. Like I know the topic, so I can just freestyle. But this is, a little different. So this is my foray.
We'll talk at the meeting after the meeting. We'll talk at the meeting after the meeting. Okay. Oh, some good things that you can do. Even probably some things you already have on your computer that you ain't got to worry about spending the extra time. Unless we're going into the big time and you're going to be doing this on a regular, every day, every week, every month basis, then you may want to consider. But yeah, we can talk. That's what's up. So, is this the one that's private for that particular group?
Yeah, this one is just for nurses, but I want to see how it's going to go because I can venture out because what I see, like I follow, like Reddit and on Facebook, like I just really feel sorry. I just wish I could just go through the monitor and give these people just a little a hug and an iced coffee because These people are out
Or
here
T.
well, OT, yes, because they out here struggling.
Struggling.
I
Yeah,
mean, when I
I
tell
am
you,
on Reddit, so I see a lot of stuff on Reddit like,
when I tell you down bad, I mean down bad. And I'm like, it should not be this hard. It should, it shouldn't. So there's there's not any real sound advice out there. That makes it even worse. And these people, like we say all the time, like these certification exams, I don't care what credential you have in HIM, those exams are not easy.
and
And
they were never designed for.
Right.
Never designed to be. I mean,
because they
were showing that you want to show that you have mastered the skill with this certification. So folks who just willy-nilly trying to play it and use chat GPT and other things, you didn't just spend a whole bunch of money for nothing.
Because I just saw this woman had made a post. She didn't. She took her CPC and didn't pass. So she's like, "What resources did anybody who passed use?" That's not the question you should be asking. What you should be doing is reviewing your exam results.
Seeing where you fail,
exactly.
Where you need to now take the time to refresh, relearn, refresh, and retest. Maybe that's a whole other conversation. What to do if you didn't pass? What steps do you take now? That's a whole other conversation.
But that was my people need hugs and a beverage. That's all.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. All right. All right then. Well, let the tea spilling begin. Oh, I gotta get rid of all this stuff, don't I? In the meantime, see comments. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Tanika.
Let me get rid of All right. I think we're all right. So welcome back. Welcome back to the Saturday Morning Tea, where we serve up the real talk our profession needs. I'm Clarice Warner, and that's the coding nurse, Mr. Jesse. And we meet every single Saturday morning to break down what's actually happening in health information, coding, and compliance. No fluff, no jargon. You need a decoder ring for just the basics. So to everyone who's been here before, thank you for coming back. Get your cup. Again, no judgment on what may be in your cup, and come on in the room. Okay, tea sippers, here's where we're starting today. And every time artificial intelligence or AI comes up in a healthcare compliance conversation, the question in the room is almost always, can we let AI touch patient records? And I want to gently push back on that, because that is genuinely the wrong first question, since we're talking about what's the wrong question to ask. The real distinction healthcare organizations need to be making isn't access. It's the difference between analysis and execution. Here's what I mean. Generative AI used in the right role can meaningfully accelerate the work coders, clinical documentation, integrity specialists, and compliance teams already do. It can help interpret Medicare, Medicaid, commercial payer, and clinical requirements, and turn them into candidate business rules for expert review. It can help draft and review code, logic, and configurations. It can help design test cases and catch scenarios a human might miss. It can comb through large claim, remittance, and clinical data sets and flag inconsistencies. It can help explain the why behind a flagged exception. And it can help teams design better edits, work queues, and reports inside the systems they already operate. Now, that's a real list. That's genuinely useful. But notice, every single item on the list is analysis. None of it is execution. Healthcare operations require repeatability. When the same facts and the same approved rule show up, the organization needs a result that can be reproduced, defended, and explained to an auditor, to a payer, to the OIG, to a judge if it ever gets that far. That kind of accountable, versioned, logged execution belongs inside the platforms built for it. Your Epic, your Oracle Health, your Meditech, your claim scrubbers, your coding tools, not inside a chat window. So the healthy architecture looks like this: AI analyzes, subject matter experts and programmers design the rule. Clinical, compliance, finance, and security stakeholders approve it. The established hospital system execute. And then, critically, accountable people monitor it because AI can help flag new exceptions, but people control the changes and the high impact decisions. And here's the piece I don't want you to miss. Even if every one of those boxes is checked, that still doesn't fully answer the compliance question. A hospital still has to determine whether the specific AI product, the contract, the configuration, and the data handling comply with HIPAA and its own security policies: minimum necessary access, retention, audit logging, vendor obligation, human reviews, incident response. Again, compliance is necessary. It just isn't sufficient on its own. And it could all be so simple if we stop treating, quote, can AI see the data, end quote, as the finish line and started treating it as a step one of a much longer accountability chain. So let's make this concrete because analysis versus execution can sound abstract until you see it on the floor. Think about ambient documentation tools, the ones that listen to a clinical encounter and draft a note. I've seen many a physician of late use them. They ask for permission, they put their little phone or recorder. Most of them are just using the phone, put the little stuff in, put it on the desk, and start talking. Mhm. That's a textbook analysis task. The AI is drafting language based on what it heard. It is not the one deciding what gets billed, and it is not the one submitting the claim. The provider still has and should read that draft, correct it, and attest to it. The coder still has to look at the finished documentation and determine what it actually supports. If an organization skips that human step, if the draft becomes the record without anyone checking it, that's not a technology failure. That's a governance failure. The tool did exactly what it was to do. Nobody built the guardrail around it. And here's a trap I want you to watch for because I see organizations fall into it constantly: mistaking fast for accurate. AI generated drafts read clean. They're grammatically confident, well organized, professional sounding. That confidence can be deceiving. A polished paragraph is not the same thing as a medically necessary code supporting paragraph. Fluency is not the same thing as accuracy. That's exactly why the human review step in that 5-step architecture I talked about before isn't optional. It's the whole point. If you're the one evaluating an AI vendor for your organization, here are the questions I want answered before signing anything. Where does the output land? Does it feed directly into a claim? Or does it land in a queue a human has to act on? Is there an audit trail showing exactly what the AI suggested versus what a human approved? And can you turn it off and still run your operations? If the answer to any of those makes you uncomfortable, that's your answer about whether it's ready for your environment. Now, and Mr. Jesse, you jump in. Let's talk about what happens when that accountability chain doesn't hold with or without AI anywhere near it, because the federal government is not being subtle about where it's looking right now. The Department of Health and Human Services Office of Inspector General released a semi-annual report to Congress covering October 2025 through March 2026. Total monetary impact, $5.56 billion. That's investigative receivables, audit and evaluation receivables, and identified potential cost savings combined. Over 1,200 individuals and entities were excluded from federal healthcare programs in that 6-month window alone. And that report doesn't even capture what came next. And we know all about what happened in June. The Department of Justice announced its 2026 National Healthcare Fraud Takedown. And by scale, it was the largest whole of government healthcare fraud operation in the department's history. 455 defendants charged, including 90 doctors and licensed medical professionals across 56 federal districts and 45 states and territories, in schemes totaling more than $6.5 billion in alleged false claims. Behavioral health specifically has become one of the most heavily scrutinized corners of that enforcement landscape. Psychotherapy billing, applied behavioral analysis claims, and antipsychotic prescribing patterns were all specifically called out. And I want to walk you through a few real examples because the pattern underneath them is what actually matters for us. So, a behavioral health company in New York paid $300,000 to resolve False Claims Act allegations, billing for no-show appointments and billing telehealth visits for patient messaging responses with no documentation to support that a service actually happened. Just because y'all talking back and forth in Messenger doesn't mean there an actual service happened, people. A qualified mental health provider in Virginia was charged with making false statements tied to fraudulent billing, documentation that was falsified with impossible overlapping service times. That's low hanging fruit. All they got to do is pull up your schedule, see what's happening. The math never maths.
That's easy.
That's an easy one. An Arizona substance use treatment organization was indicted in connection with nearly $45 million in false claims for services that were never rendered, not provided as billed, not medically necessary, or not delivered as part of an integrated treatment plan. And I want to be clear that this pattern isn't unique to behavioral health, not at all. That same OIG report I mentioned also detailed the two settlements with Kaiser Permanente affiliates and with Aetna, together totaling $674 million tied to inflated Medicare Advantage billing. Again, different clinical setting, different payer program, same root issue. Risk adjustment coding that outran what the documentation could actually support. So whether it's a treatment plan in a behavioral health chart or a diagnosis code driving a risk score in Medicare Advantage, the mechanism is identical. The claim moved faster than the documentation could justify it. We talk about this all the time, and there's so many organizations that have the drop the claim mentality and nobody looked at the documentation. Hell, half the time the documentation ain't even signed, but that's a whole other conversation. Zoom out for a second because scale matters here. Since 2007, the Federal Health Care Fraud Strike Force program has charged more than 6,200 defendants and identified more than $45 billion in billed accounts. This isn't a new area of scrutiny. It's an area of scrutiny that keeps intensifying with more data analytics. The more they look, the more they see, the quicker now using AI that they could do all of this. Here we are. More coordination across the states and more willingness to charge individuals, not just the organizations. Yeah, they pinning it all the way down to the individual person. And then there's the one that I think is the most important teaching case here. It was the Journey to Hope, Health, and Healing. It was an opioid treatment provider in Rhode Island, or is, I don't think they've closed down. They agreed to pay more than $10 million to resolve allegations of false claims to Medicaid and Medicare. And according to the whistleblower complaint, the organization failed to provide adequate counseling, carried excessively large caseloads, and neglected required treatment planning. Many patients had no treatment plan at all, and others hadn't had theirs updated in years. And on top of that, the allegations include that treatment plan documentation was falsified to mislead the state auditors. Now, here's why that case sticks with me. At first glance, It doesn't scream bad actor. It doesn't sound like someone woke up plotting fraud. It sounds like a documentation process that quietly eroded until it became something auditors and eventually the Department of Justice could no longer overlook. When most people hear false claims, they picture a billing problem or a coding problem. But what these cases actually show, what health information has always understood, is that documentation integrity is the foundation everything else stands on. Coding accuracy can't exist without it. Compliance can't exist without it. It could all be so simple if we treated the chart the way it actually functions, as the single source of truth the entire claim depends on. Before we move into where health information fits in all of this, quick certification corner for anyone studying right now. So if you're prepping for a coding or CDI credential exam, documentation integrity questions do show up more than people expect. And they're usually testing whether you know the difference between what a chart implies and what a chart actually states. Coders don't code from inference. If a provider hasn't explicitly documented a diagnosis, a query is the answer, not an assumption, no matter how obvious the clinical picture seems. That single habit, querying instead of inferring, will save you on both the exam and the job. Documentation integrity gut check. Now, I promised you something practical, so let's turn all of this into a tool you can actually use Monday morning. I call it the 3-question documentation integrity gut check. And you can run it on a single chart, a whole service line, or your entire organization. So question 1, does the documentation say it or does it just imply it? This is the query versus inference habit I mentioned a minute ago, but it applies just as much at the organizational level. If your policy relies on providers probably meaning something that's not documentation integrity, that's a guess wearing a chart's clothing. Every code you bill needs language in the record that actually states the thing you're billing for, not language a reasonable person could interpret their way into. Question 2, could this chart survive a stranger reading it? Not a colleague who already knows the patient, not a provider who remembers the visit, a stranger, an auditor, 3 years from now, who has never met this patient and has nothing but what's on the page. If that stranger couldn't reconstruct what happened, why it was medically necessary, and how long it took, the chart has a gap, no matter how confident anyone or everyone in the room feels about what actually happened. And then question 3, if volume doubled tomorrow, would the process still hold? This one is the one organizations miss most, because most documentation processes are quietly held together by a few experienced people who know the shortcuts and catch the errors by instinct. And that works fine at today's volume. It falls apart the moment caseloads grow, staff turnover, or a new service line launches, which is exactly the moment audits tend to happen. So if your process depends on tribal knowledge instead of a documented workflow, it's not actually a process. It's a lucky streak. So run those 3 questions on any chart, any team, any organization, and you'll find your risk before an auditor does. That's the whole game. And it could all be so simple. 3 questions asked honestly before someone else asks them for you.
Can I jump in?
Yes, sir.
Can I tell you, I'm still stuck on the whistleblower and the $10 million settlement, because
did you count those coins?
They walking away with 1.5 million.
I said, did you count those coins?
Yes. Tax free.
Yeah. And they out there. You have to know they're out there. And so if you, the one thing we used to do, and we never took any commentary, any complaint, any recommendation, suggestion. We never took anything lightly. We would, someone's job was to regularly review the hotline and take the information from the hotline. We charted it. We tracked it. We did all of the things with the hotline. So we were following up on all the things, because sometimes you just that analysis, you find trends and you see people saying the same thing over and over and over again. And that right there is a hint and a half for your behind. Because if they're saying the same thing, somebody may be seeing the same thing, and somebody may be like, you know what, I keep hearing the same thing. I know somebody else is hearing the same thing, and nobody is doing anything about it. Let me start writing all this stuff down. Let me reach out and see who may listen to me and do something about it. It's crazy.
It really, and it's just, I cannot believe that these people are still operating like it's 1993, like when doctors could get away with anything. It's not like that anymore.
It's not like that.
And the things that go on, like they almost defy reason, because I remember, like, one of the many places I worked and left, they were switching over EMRs, and instead of paying for the integration, so the old notes would roll over into the new system, they were literally paying medical assistants to retype physician notes and sign them. Like, I'm like, this is not a legal note signed by a medical assistant.
Lord. I remember when the government decided and executed the change in your physician claims and billing sitting on one side of the world or the house, and your hospital claims and submission sitting on the other side of the world or house. Everything was separate. So folks over here doing all the things they want to do, they interact over here, but nobody is paying attention to what. She's so silly. And nobody is even thinking that maybe one day they're going to put this stuff together. They're going to merge this stuff together. And boy, when that day hit, I said, woo, look at here. And it wasn't a quick transformation. Stuff gonna talk, we gonna see, as you have noticed over the years, more things are coming out. Well, where did they get this information from? Well, they looked over here at the hospital record and saw your documentation. So they went back to see what you built and what you did and it's all right there together. Add AI, add all of this new and fangled technology that can spot these trends quicker and faster than the human auditors can. Y'all playing out here in these streets.
Well, Tanika, to close out that point, 3 years later, they got hit because a doctor became a whistleblower.
Like, who is signing for me? I didn't authorize that, because at the end of the day, they're the ones that are testing it. It falls on them. I've been the same way. Like,
those folks were off the chain.
Ooh, I'd have been nervous. They still open?
But yeah, they are. But I think they changed the name as they do. As they do. But when you were just talking, the thought that came to my mind is, I believe, look, not that also that children are our future, but
see, you get like me with the songs. They be coming like, well, if these kids don't read, I don't know, but go ahead. That's all.
I think that people, including coders, devalue the importance of medical coding knowledge. I think that there are not enough coders that are going into health informatics. I really do. Because I believe that if they had more people who had a coding knowledge, who had a billing knowledge, who can help them with their flow, I think that this could be a whole lot better. And I just don't think there's enough people. And I don't think that coders really see pathways, especially um, these, newly credentialed RHITs and RHIAs. I just don't think that they know all that's available.
Mm-hmm. No, I don't want that. That's regular. Okay, here we go. I don't want you to cover up. I agree. I agree. And because if I get another phone call from somebody asking me about medical coding and billing program, I swear to God, if I had a dime for everyone, I was gonna say penny, but they going away. If I had a
Yeah.
dime for everyone that would call me, I may be able to retire. It's ridiculous. And I'd be like, it
But it's
starts with at least that
marketing.
part of
It's
education.
marketing. Like these organizations did not get in front of it. Like you shouldn't have people really out here thinking that medical billing and coding are synonymous because they're not. It's two totally separate things.
Totally separate things with
And
two
two
totally
vital
separate skill sets.
and both of them are very much in demand, but
Yes.
there's very, very, very little crossover. And people don't understand that. Now, if you want to do both, I think because even like I tutor for Dr. Hill's program, and I tell those women all the time, like they start off with the billing part, then they go into CP. I'm like, okay, if your program pays for you to get your CPC, go and get your CPB. You already have the information, like because
Level
that
up, be marketable. Hello.
exactly having that because I'm telling like in all of my, I mean, other than like a core coding credential, the CPMA and the CPB for me were game changers, just in terms for me understanding the revenue cycle. And
Mhm.
then how you can then it just all starts to come together because you start to see it in its totality and it's like, oh well, okay, well I could do this or I could move over here, I can help with that. Oh, I see why that's a problem. Because it develops you get a larger view. That's just
You're
my two
absolutely right.
cents.
You're right. You're right. Your 2 cents are valid. All right, so let's bring these two threads together because they're really one story. Segment one was really about a tool that can help you analyze faster. And then segment two was about what happens when nobody actually is validating the output. So, health information professionals are the connective tissue between those two things, the people positioned at the exact intersection of documentation integrity, coding accuracy, and organizational compliance. So, practically, that shows up in three places. First, a concurrent chart review. Treatment plans are the backbone of behavioral health services, and there are strict requirements around timelines, signatures, and review periods. Health information can lead the change on reviewing for timely documentation and flagging providers the moment a chart shows a deficiency, not 60 days later during an audit. I'm going to put a pin right there only because I know for a lot of behavioral health practitioners, they don't even have a health information person in their office at all.
Okay. No. Problem number one.
Number one. They may have a billing light person to help them do some things, but not even a health information professional. Now, bigger organizations, yes, and I get it, but you got to pay to play. It's the cost of doing business. If you want to keep the coins that you're getting, you you got to spread. You got to make sure you have the foundation there for folks to do the. Okay. All right. Second, pre-bill coding checks. This one matters especially again in behavioral health, where unlike acute care, coding the encounter is predominantly a provider responsibility rather than a coder translating documentation after the fact. That means health information has a real opportunity to intervene before the claim goes out the door, confirming the documentation actually support what's about to be billed. Okay. And third, watching the service data itself, overutilization patterns, provider time entries that don't add up. That is so low hanging fruit. Lord. HIM professionals are naturally wired for this. We notice outliers because pattern recognition is baked into how we already do the job. That data monitoring lens is central to catching a problem while it's still a process issue, not yet an enforcement issue. And here's where segment one comes back around. And this is exactly the kind of work where AI used correctly is a genuine asset. It can help you scan larger volumes of claims and chart data than a human reviewer could get alone or could get through alone, flag the anomalies and surface the exceptions worth a second look. But the review, the judgment call, does this documentation actually support this code decision? That's still ours. That belongs to us. That's still HIM. Let me give you a quick practical picture of what this looks like day to day. Say a pre-bill coding check flags a therapy session billed at 90 minutes, but the note only documents 45 minutes of content. That's not automatically fraud. It might just be an incomplete note. But it is absolutely a stop and check moment. Let me go double check. Let me make sure that this was not a random error. Let's see what's going on. HIM sends it back to the provider before the claim goes out. The documentation gets corrected or the code gets adjusted to match what's actually supported. That's the key here. And the claim that leaves the building is one that can survive an audit. That's the entire guardrail function in one small example. It's not glamorous. It's not going to make headlines, but multiply that one catch across every chart every week. And that's the difference between an organization that ends up in an OIG report and one that doesn't. These enforcement actions aren't just headlines to skim past. They're proof of exactly what strong documentation integrity and coding oversight prevent. As federal scrutiny keeps climbing, health information professionals are the guardrail, not a nice to have next to compliance, but the thing compliance actually depends on. I know I depended on my health information people all the time. What you hear, what you need, how can we help? All right. Before we wrap, and let me also say, and I do know and appreciate that there's another elephant in the room, particularly around health information and our coding professionals, and that is this productivity foolishness. Because you can't do even this stuff at all, at scale, if you're operating under a productivity model that you're constantly thinking and need to do and gotta push and gotta whatever, or you may lose your position. I get it. I understand. So while I'm talking with you, I'm not necessarily talking to you. How's that? All right. So before we wrap, let's do a quick mailbag moment because this question comes up in our comments after the fact, usually when I'm going through and reposting things. Every time we talk about AI, if my organization won't invest in a governed AI tool, is it safer for me to just not use AI at all? Well, honestly, I understand the instinct, but here's my take. Avoidance isn't a compliance strategy either. Staff are, believe it or not, folks are going to use the free ungoverned AI tools, whether there's a policy or not, within your organization, period.
No. And do.
especially when it makes their day easier. Period. Nobody is playing with y'all. Don't be fooled. It's getting ahead of it, building the policy, defining what's approved for analysis, and making sure everyone knows execution still runs through the controlled system. So again, it could all be so simple if we replace the ban it instinct with a governance plan. So here's the T sippers. AI can absolutely help you analyze faster, draft smarter, and catch more than you could catch alone. What it cannot do, and we've talked about this a gazillion times, is execute your judgment for you. And it cannot retroactively fix a documentation gap once an auditor or the Department of Justice has already found it. That accountability still belongs to a human, sitting exactly where health information professionals has always sat, at the intersection of documentation, coding, and compliance. Run the 3-question gut check. Build the governance before you need it. It could all be so simple. Just hand someone the plain language version of what the chart actually needs to say. Get it right the first time, and you've closed the gap before it ever becomes a headline. Mr. Jesse, do you have any closing thoughts?
This was a great topic. And I just think that, I don't know, because there are people who are still out here who think that AI is going to take over instead of really realizing that the people who are involved in it are realizing that it's a tool. And those are two different mindsets. And if you realize it as a tool, then you can make better use of it. And you can know that you can use it to improve your job instead of taking it over or eliminating your job.
And improve the revenue that you are there to help produce.
Because what people don't realize is, okay, you can be in your orthopedic office and poo-poo AI all you want to, but you better realize that when you send that claim, that payer is using AI.
On all your stuff. Yeah. That's how they're finding the trends and the low-hanging fruit and all of the things on their end. Oh, I keep seeing this pop up. Blip, 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 blip. Wait a minute. I got 30 of them. Let's dig deeper. Wait a minute. Hold up. These people in the same practice got the same thing. What's happening? Then you get a letter. The letter is sent.
They realized in less than a 5-minute SQL query and a prompt that your office is billing at a 30% higher rate for everybody else in your area for this particular procedure. We need to see why.
We need to see why. And the same thing with your evaluation and management services too. Oh wait, y'all all over here are outlier. Now there can be reasons. Don't get me wrong. Right. You could be justifiably treating and seeing in an area where you have a high patient mix of non-compliance. You got the sicker patients. There all of those factors can be. All of the social determinants of health can be involved. All of the things can be true. That doesn't mean you won't be flagged as an outlier, but you then need to make sure you have supported that with documentation to say that. Remember, I said a stranger 3 years, 4 years from now is going to pick up and say, well, wait a minute. What? You need to write that with the future in mind, not just what's happening today.
I just don't think people really understand. They really don't. And it could really all be so simple. I mean, we make it as a joke, but it is so true.
It is so true. Could. Like once they got into our spirit, I think we just took it and ran. But it's so true. Yeah. It's so true. All right, then. Well, that is our tea for today, tea sippers. Remember, again, it can all be so simple once someone hands you the plain language of information and how it impacts not only your organization, your providers, but how it personally impacts you in the profession. Don't let it slip away. Don't let it go to your head. I don't know why that came in. I told you stuff be sliding in. I'm Clarice Warner, the girl with the pearls. Remember, be safe, be kind, and don't wish for it. Work for it. Until next time, take care and have a wonderful weekend. To our PRN tea sippers, we will see you at 10:15. All right. Talk soon.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye.